factor which affects on demand, that is size of population. As the population rises, demand for several goods and services also rises. If the size of population falls down, demand for several goods and services also falls down. This slide gives us information regarding the same thing. As we know that when across the world, Indian economy is a populous, second populous country in the world. Almost close to 138 crore people are living in our country. If the population of our country rises from 138 crore to 150, suppose, in between upcoming decades, automatically demand for several goods and services also rises. If due to natural calamity, now corona is affecting badly on death rate, mortality rate of the nation. If mortality rate rises, automatically demand for several goods and services also declines. It means that size of population determines demand for several goods and services in the economy. If size of population rises, demand for goods and services rises. If size of population declines, demand for several goods and services also declines. So we can say that here is a direct relationship between demand for goods and size of population. Composition of population also affects on demand for goods and services. How composition of population affects on demand for goods and services? We know that when experts classified the entire population into three groups, 0 to 14, then 15 to 60, and 60 plus. This group is considered as a kids group. This group is considered as an old age group. Suppose a particular country is here, and in this economy, near about more than 50% people are living in between 0 to 14. So automatically demand for chocolates rises in this economy. Demand for toys also rises. Okay. So composition of population affects on demand for several goods and services in the economy. Suppose in a particular economy, old age people are living more. It means 60 plus population is too much one. What will happen in this economy? Demand for specs, demand for medicine, demand for stick rises. Why? Because these guys requires all these items too much. So that is why we can say that age composition also affects on demand for several goods and services. Suppose country like India, suppose this is India. In our country, 15 to 60 population is almost close to or more than 75 crore right now. So whatever the products young people requires, demand for such products rises. For example, t-shirts demand rises, jeans demand rises, okay, shoes demand rises. Okay, the things, laptop, cell phones, all these products which they requires, demand for all that products definitely rises in this economy. So we can say that not only just the size of population affects on demand for the products, but also age composition also affects on demand for several goods and services. So most of the countries are focusing a lot on population controlling policy in recent days just to control the demand for several goods and services. That creates scarcity in the economy if demand rises too much due to hike in population. That is not a good thing. But even if we must have to take into consideration size of population is another determinant of demand here. Besides that one, another factor which affects on demand, that is expectations about future Means whatever the price, usually the buyer expects regarding a particular commodity in future, that also affects on demand. For example, rice is very important for us because this one is a food item. All people require this particular commodity. Everyone is buying, suppose per month everyone buying 10 kg rice. If all the people in the society expecting that there will be rise in price of rice in near future, so people tend to buy much more units of rice. Demand for rice rises. Why? Because they expected one thing, they anticipated there will be rise in price in future. Instead of buying that particular commodity at a higher price level in future, we should buy this product at a current price level. Demand for this commodity rises when they anticipate there will be hike in the price of this commodity in near future. If they are going to anticipate there will be reduction in the price of rice in near future, current demand for this commodity falls down. Why? Because expectations regarding changes in price level changes the psychology of the customers. If they expect there will be rise, current demand rises. If they expect there will be reduction in near future of that particular commodity, current demand rises. So we can say that whatever the expectations people are expecting regarding the changes in price level of the related product, that induces the current demand or sometimes reduces the current demand. It depends upon expectations, anticipations regarding the changes in price level. Change in price may be positive, may be negative. If there is a positive change, current demand falls down, rises. And if there is a negative change, current demand declines. This one is another one. Besides that, another factor which affects on demand, that is advertisement. What is advertisement? Promotion activity is considered as advertisement. Especially in advertisement, most of the firms induces the buyer to buy much more commodities by introducing effective advertisement in front of them. We know that when today's era is the era of globalization, era of competition. In this competitive world, every seller is willing to earn maximum. Every producer is willing to earn maximum. And to earn maximum, they must have to sell more. It means earning depends upon sales, and sales depends upon production. Okay? If they earn more, they must have to sell more. And to sell more, they should hike the demand for their own commodity. And to hike the demand for their own commodity, they should change the psychology of the customers towards their own brand, which they produce daily. And to change the psychology of every customer, advertisement is a better instrument. So that is why they are using different modes of advertisement. Through cell phones they are making advertisement, through print media, through electronic media, through hoardings, they are making advertisement regarding their own product. Effective advertisement induces the buyer to buy much more goods and services. We know that one. So that is why number of firms across the world are paying huge amount per second, per minute to the different channels. And number of channels are there. They usually repeat a particular firm's products advertisement again and again, that thing hammers on the psychology of the customer regarding that particular brand, and that induces the buyer to buy that particular product. And due to that one, demand for that particular commodity rises. Advertisement plays a vital role in sales policy of the MNCs, big firms or small firms. Because effective advertisement, if changes the psychology, automatically demand for that particular commodity rises in the market. And the MNCs will be in benefit. They will be able to earn maximum. And to change the psychology, most of the firms uses quality brand ambassadors for launching the newly produced product. We know that one Shah Rukh is well-known personality of Hollywood, Bollywood, okay, especially Bollywood. If such a guy is going to represent a particular commodity, automatically that induces the buyer to buy a particular product. Number of actors also playing the role of brand ambassador of different brands, cricket players, political leaders, number of the people, those who are having their own status in the society, they are utilizing their own status to represent the brand of a particular ENC in front of the customers. So that is why number of products are having one better demand for their own brand in the market. Okay, it means that advertisement plays a dominant role in hiking the demand for the product. Another factor which affects on demand, that is taste, habits and fashion. If taste changes, this slide explains the same thing. If taste changes, demand for that particular commodity also changes. If a particular person wants to have that particular commodity, automatically demand for that particular product rises. For example, Lay's, Kurkures, we know that one. Lay's is the tastiest one. People want to buy definitely this product more. Why? Because taste induces them to buy much more units of the same product. Then Pepsi, Coca-Cola, cold drinks. Demand is too much one in recent days, during summer season. People want to have that particular commodity too much. Why? Due to change in taste. Number of people are having on different habits, and due to that particular habit, demand for that particular commodity remains better one in the market. We know that one chain smoker having the habit of a cigarette. Chain smoker definitely buy that particular commodity at any price level. Why? Because without that particular commodity, he will not live a life. He will not be able to do his own work. In case of drunkards also, drug addict person also spend huge amount of money on a certain product. Drunkards spend huge amount of money on wine, liquor. Why? Because without that commodity, he will not live a life. That person having the habit. As far as the young guys are concerned, we know that in recent days, we are observing that young students are having the habit to use a cell phone too much. Without cell phone, they are not able to live a life. Sometimes we observe the different examples in the society. We are having the habit. In our daily routine life also, we require a particular product in our lunch box or in dinner. We require that one. Some people are having the habit to buy a newspaper. So we can say that demand for newspaper in case of such people remains inelastic. I am also having the habit to consume rice daily. Demand for rice also remains the same one. So we can say that besides the taste, habit also induces the person to buy much more units of the different commodity. Another factor that also affects on demand, that is fashion. Change in fashion induces the people to buy newly launched product in the market. The product whose fashion is going on, people want to buy that particular product at a higher price level also. So we can say that the products whose fashion is going on, demand for that particular commodity remains better one. And another thing, if the product becomes out of fashion, demand for that particular commodity never remains better one. In recent days, people never want to use dhoti. Why? That product is out of fashion. Most of the students, youngsters, want to buy jeans, t-shirts, trousers. Why? Because that product fashion is going on. Due to that one, such products demand in the market remains better one as compared to dhoti, which is out of fashion right now. Another thing is that another factor which affects on demand, that is level of taxation. This slide explains the same thing. What it explains, as we know that when different services we receive from the government side, and for that use of that particular services, we must have to pay tax to the government. There are two types of taxes government imposes on us. First one direct tax, another one indirect tax. Direct tax means a tax which is levied by the government on the income. That tax is considered as a direct tax. Indirect tax means a tax which is levied by the government on goods and services. What actually happens if the government levies much more tax on us? Look at the board. If government is going to impose direct tax, if direct tax government imposes more, our real income falls down, because such type of a tax is imposed on income level. If our income declines, purchasing capacity declines. If purchasing capacity declines, demand declines. It means that suppose my income is 1 lakh, government is willing to impose 10% tax on me. It means 10,000 rupees I must have to pay the tax to the government. It means 90,000 rupees I will utilize to buy goods and services. Simple example. If the government changed its slab from 10% to 50%, now I must have to pay 50,000 rupees to the government as a tax. If the government is going to collect too much tax from me, my disposable income falls down. Now I am having just 50,000 instead of 90,000 rupees. My disposable income, if falls down, I will not be able to buy much more goods and services from the market. So that is why what type of a taxation policy the government is going to launch, on that demand for several goods and services depends. This one is in connection with the direct tax. Another one, indirect tax. Indirect tax means a tax which is levied by the government on goods and services. If government levies much more taxes on goods, prices of goods rises. And if prices of goods rises, we know that one, demand for such goods declines. If the government is not going to levy indirect tax more, automatically prices falls down. If prices falls down, buying such commodities remains affordable to the people, those who are living in the society, and automatically its demand rises. So we can say that what type of taxation policy the government is willing to frame regarding the direct tax and regarding indirect tax affects on demand for several goods and services. If government levies much more taxes, overall demand for several goods and services declines. If the government is not willing to impose taxes, automatically demand for several goods and services rises. So we can say that there is an inverse relationship between government taxation policy and demand for several goods and services. If government's taxation policy remains favorable to the people, demand rises. And if government taxation policy never remains favorable to the community, that time demand falls down. This is also very important indicator of demand. These are the major determinants of demand. Besides that one, another factor that affects on demand, that is climatic conditions. Climate also affects on demand. If season changes, climate changes, demand for certain goods and services also changes. As we know that one right now summer season is going on. In summer season, demand for juice, demand for ice cream, demand for cold drinks rises. Because taking the consumption of such products provides much more satisfaction to the people during summer season. Just like that one, in rainy season, demand for umbrella, demand for raincoats rises. Besides that one, in winter season, demand for coffee, tea, wine, woolen clothes rises. Why? Because that product provides much more satisfaction to the user. So we can say that climatic conditions also affects on demand for several goods and services. Apart from that, changes in technology also affects on demand. Newly launched technology induces the producer to produce highly new product. And we know that when the tendency of the customer is to buy a newly launched product. If technology changes, that induces the producer to produce new commodity. And new version, if the customers having one in the market, they will buy that particular commodity at a higher price level also. So changes in technology also affects on demand for the product. We are having one better example. Right now we are having on Android cell phones. Demand for Android cell phone is too much one in recent days. Smartphones as compared to older phones. Most of the people are willing to buy newly launched cell phones. Why? Because whatever the technology, whatever the apps involved by these cell phone manufacturing companies in the newly launched cell phones are extraordinary one, and everyone wants to utilize that apps. And that is why demand for such products remains better. And the last one, customs and traditions also affects on demand. As we know that when across the world different customs and traditions, the society, number of societies are having one. As far as India is concerned, we celebrate different customs, traditions like Diwali. And during Diwali, demand for sweets, demand for crackers rises. We are having one color festival. Tradition or customs means festivals. We celebrate festivals throughout the year. Different festivals we celebrate. In different festival we require different product. During color festival, demand for color rises. During Diwali, demand for sugar, demand for sweets rises. In Christmas season, demand for cake, pastries rises. It means that chocolates also demand rises. in Christmas season. So customs and traditions induces the people to buy different types of goods and services. As far as the summer season is concerned, in India, summer season is considered as a wedding ceremony season. During wedding ceremony season, demand for Mangal Sutra rises, demand for food items rises, demand for clothes rises. So that particular festival, that particular custom induces the people to buy several goods from the market. So that is why we can say that yes, this one is another determinant of demand. So we can easily state one thing here. There are number of determinants of demand, and that affects on the psychology of the customer to have a product or to don't have a product. So that determinants are considered as a, look at the board, collectively demand is the function of income, price, prices of substitute goods, prices of complementary goods, technology, customs, taste, habit, okay, then population, then fashion, okay, then advertisement, okay, and the last one, that one is also considered as a expectations regarding changes in price level. All these are the determinants. Government policy also affects on demand. These are the several determinants of demand. So we can say that demand is a function of all these factors. Okay, income, price of substitute goods, price of complementary goods, technology, customs, tradition, then habits, preferences, fashion, attitude, okay, expectations regarding price changes in price level in future, government policy and technology. All these are important expectations. Okay. Besides the expectations of changes in price level, the last 2 points are also very important, government policy and technology. We observe regarding all these points. Apart from these determinants, we should know the types of demand. There are near about 5 types of demand. Types of demand. First one, direct demand. Second one, indirect demand. Third one, composite demand. Fourth one, competitive demand. And fifth one, joint demand. Okay. The first slide gives us information regarding the direct demand. What is direct demand? Direct demand means when the demand for goods and services is for direct consumption, such demand is considered as a direct demand. What is the definition of direct demand? Direct demand means when the demand for goods and services are for direct consumption, such demand is considered as a direct demand. All consumer goods are having one direct demand. All consumer goods means the goods we consume daily. Such goods are considered as a direct demand. For example, fruits, vegetables, okay, then cake, all the things we are having one year, okay, everything we are having on one dosa year, okay, sambar. So we want that particular commodity for direct consumption. Okay, all the things, fruits, vegetables, for food item, we directly consume all these products. So due to that one, we can say that all these products having direct demand, because these products we directly consume. That is why such products are having one direct demand. Another demand is indirect demand. When the demand for goods and services is for production of goods and services, such demand is considered as an indirect demand, or one economist given a qualitative definition regarding indirect demand or derived demand. Indirect demand means when the demand for a commodity is depend upon demand for goods and services produced by it. When the demand for the commodity depends upon demand for goods and services produced by it, that is considered as an indirect demand or derived demand. It means, what is the meaning of it? When the demand for goods and services is when the demand for goods and services is for production of goods and services is considered as an indirect demand. It means we know the factors of production having an indirect demand. It means land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. All these products demand depends upon demand for goods and services produced by it. Okay, suppose among these four factors labor is a very important one. Okay, labor, as far as the labor is concerned, suppose software computer engineers demand depends upon whatever the product produced by these engineers in the market, what type of demand that product having one. Suppose these engineers are useful to produce computer. If computer having one better demand in the market, that time the industries will appoint more engineers in the industrial unit to manufacture more quantities of computer. If the computer doesn't have much more demand in the market, industries never want to recruit more engineers in the firm. So we can say that engineers demand depends upon demand for computer which is produced by them. If computer having one better demand in the market, engineers demand rises. If computer doesn't have too much demand, engineers demand falls down. So engineers demand is indirect because engineers demand depends upon the demand for the product which is produced by them. Same thing happens in case of land also, capital also, entrepreneur also. Land's demand depends upon whatever the product produced by the land, what type of demand that product having one, on that land's demand depends. For example, if sugar's demand rises, if the sugar's demand rises, automatically land for the production of sugarcane rises. It means land which is too much essential to produce sugarcane, that land's demand when rises? When sugar having one better demand in the market. This one is a very important thing. So that is why the second thing is that indirect demand means the demand which is completely dependent on demand for goods and services produced by it. Okay, another demand that is considered as a complementary demand or joint demand. Complementary or joint demand means when two or more commodities are demanded to satisfy a single want, that demand is considered as a joint demand. Two or more commodities are demanded to satisfy a single want, that is considered as a joint demand. For example, in this slide we are having one better example, computer. Okay, to run the computer we should have monitor, keyboard, CPU. All these products are considered as a jointly demanded. One server is there. If we want to run a computer by using internet, we should have internet connection. So internet cables are required. Okay, besides that, one computer is required, CPU is required. Then keyboard is required. All these products are jointly demanded to satisfy a single want. So such type of a demand is considered as a joint demand. Besides that one, here we are having one samosa and sauce, jointly demanded. Okay. Another thing is that if we want to do, we require gillette handle. Okay, blade and gillette handle is required. Okay, so these products are jointly demanded. If I want to take 1 cup of tea, for the preparation of tea, we know that one milk is required, tea powder is required, sugar is required. So these products are jointly demanded to satisfy a single want. Such demand is considered as a joint demand or complementary demand. Then another one, composite demand. When composite demand means when a single product is demanded to satisfy various wants. That is considered as what? Composite demand. Number of products are there which we can put for multiple uses. So such products are considered as they are having one composite demand. For example, milk. We can put milk for multiple uses. We can prepare tea, coffee, ice cream, okay, curd, paneer. Okay, number of things we can prepare by using milk. Electricity we can put for multiple uses, for heating, lighting, for manufacturing goods and services to run the machines. We can put that particular commodity. So we can say that electricity having one composite demand. Just like coal, we can put coal in multiple uses. For example, rail industry requires coal, hotel industry requires coal, household industry requires coal for manufacturing. Okay, the cement industry requires coal, aluminium industry requires coal, then electricity generation plants also requires coal. We can put that particular commodity for multiple uses. So that is why we can say that coal has composite demand, electricity has composite demand, milk has composite demand, money also has composite demand, water also has composite demand. We can put all these products for number of uses. So that is why we can say that yes, these products having one composite demand. And the last one, that is very important one, and that is competitive demand. Competitive demand means when the product competes with a substitute commodity, that demand is considered as a competitive demand. In simple words, we can say that when a particular commodity competes with its substitute product, that demand is considered as a competitive demand, or a demand which competes with its substitute product, that demand is considered as a competitive demand. We know that one. In recent market, number of substitute products are available. As far as the soap market is concerned, we know that one. Number of products, Dove, Dettol, then Peers. Okay, all these are substitute products. When the Dettol buyer is going to compete with the Peers company, instead of buying Peers, if he is going to buy the Dettol, so we can say that here is a competitive demand in between these two products. Well, as far as the perfume companies are concerned, we are having one better example here, Fog and Axe. Instead of buying Fog, if we are going to purchase Axe, so automatically we can say that yes, here is a competitive demand between these two products. Okay, so that is why competitive demand means when the demand for the commodity competes with its substitute product, that demand is considered as a competitive demand. A demand which competes with its substitute commodity, that demand is considered as a competitive. As far as cell phones are concerned, we know that on different cell phones we are having one in the market, Nokia, then Xiaomi, then Apple, then Samsung, okay, then Lava. So when we are going to buy a particular cell phone, automatically we can say that we are having a number of options in front of us. Even if we are going to buy a particular company's cell phone, automatically we are not willing to buy rest of the company's cell phone. It means that that is considered as a competitive demand. Okay, all these are the important types of demand. Okay, near about direct demand, indirect demand, joint demand, competitive demand, and composite demand. These are the 5 important types of demand. I hope so you will like my lecture. Okay, thank you very much.